Hola, bien. Hola, ¿qué tal? Like moths to a flame. Well, as per usual, I've sat here now about 45 minutes. Nobody at all has shown up. There's one person inside. Then as soon as I switched on, there's now people all around just blocking. Beautiful. So the question is, why weren't they flocking for 45 minutes? If you believe, if some people believe that, oh, well, it's like moths to a flame. Well, why wasn't it moths to a flame in the 45 minutes I've sat here? There's a question. Why is it now everybody's turning up? Strange. Strange. Anyway, just coincidence. Beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed last night's sneak preview into how I work with crystals. It was, maybe 50% of how I work with crystals. So you can't give everybody everything all at once. It's impossible. But just little bits of information that help you work with your crystal and get the best from your crystal. And now that you know that a single crystal has more memory than the largest computer in the world, then it gives you an insight to realize that you can add positive energy to crystals. A lot of people disagree with me in the spiritual community. They believe that crystals can be harmful, they can be dangerous. People believe, I'm talking about spiritual community, I'm talking about New Agers. They actually believe that crystals can hold dark energy. I've never come across one. If and when anybody out there believes that they have a crystal which is dark energy and they don't want it anymore and they've paid money for it, let me know. I'll buy it off you, and I'll be happy to buy it off you, and I'll even get DHL to come and pick it up, and I'd like to feel that crystal. So, in my humble opinion, I don't bring fear into my work. I don't bring shock. I don't bring drama. I don't bring fake news. I don't blame. I don't blame outside exterior. I don't blame anything else. When I look at my life, I see a crystal as nothing but a healing process. It helps, it detoxes, and the detox process is normally that sometimes you can feel pretty bad for whatever the underlying or the root cause or the trapped issue is within my body, which was created this lifetime or past lifetimes, who knows. But I never blame something. I don't blame a Moldavite. Like, it's such a cliquey thing now. If you want to be in with the crowd, blame Moldavite for everything. And as I've proven to you before, guys, those that blame Moldavite, I don't ever show you who they are, but I can definitely say that I keep a close tabs on them and see that within a few weeks, it doesn't take long because they forget, because they're playing a game. They're actors. They then start to blame something else. So it's either their boyfriend or their boss or their situation. So they go from pillar to post. They go from blaming one thing to another. Crystals don't hurt anything. Crystals, in fact, are absolutely beautiful. And when meteorites come down, they're filled with incredible energy, different energy than we've ever felt. Crystals that are grown in Mother Earth over the thousands and thousands and millions of years, they are grown specifically for the energy of the area, to rebalance the area. So Mother Nature is clever. She knows when she needs high vibe. And as plants grow, they die. Crystals just grow and grow and grow. They don't die. They never die. So when people spend their time blaming a Moldavite or a crystal, saying that this has got dark energy, all I've ever seen is people show the same characteristics 6 to 12 weeks later. They're doing the same thing but using something else to blame. They never tend to look at their own life. This is what I found in the spiritual community. I'm sorry to say, but I found that. I don't want to talk nasty about anybody, but I found that people blame everything other than themselves. They'll blame teachers, they'll blame husbands, they'll blame crystals, they'll blame modalities, they'll blame anything, but they'll never ever look at themselves. So they'll spend their lifetime blaming everybody else. All the time, all they'll do is just blame other people and say it's them, never seeing ever that they have an issue with themselves. That's 95% of humanity. And let's not forget, anybody can say that they're spiritual. Anybody can claim that they speak to spirit. Anybody can claim that they are highly advanced with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 50 million whatever D's you want to put. I mean, for me, it really is. When anybody starts telling me about 3D, 4D, 5D, I just switch off. I'm just a common lad who really isn't time for the complexities of all of these things where they're bringing in all of this holographic and this, quantum this and quantum that. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, I've listened to these people who've taught quantum.
I believe you prefer coffee club.
And just like science, just like academia, they've made so many fuck-ups, so many mistakes. They've messed this world up so much in the name of me being a superior being than you, and I know more than you. And when spiritual people do the same thing, I just haven't time for it. I just walk away from that nonsense. And I've noticed that a lot of these actors who claim to be spiritual, if you look at their work, it's all about me knowing more than you. Why are you doing that? Why is it always me? Like, you need to listen to me. You need to hear what I'm saying. But when they don't listen and they don't care, then you have to come up with a different strategy. And that is these big new words, these big words that people seem to be drawn to. A bit like a record. When you never, it's like, why is it that everybody likes Michael Jackson's records? A lot of the times is because you don't know what he's saying. It's true. You're trying to hear what he's saying and you keep listening to that record till you know every single word, and then it becomes history. So the same thing applies, and by the way, that's all by design. Same thing applies to these new age and spiritual so-called people. They start talking stuff that you don't understand what it is. So you're interested because you want to know what people are saying, because you don't want to feel stupid. You don't want to be the idiot in the class. And that is first-hand programming. Totally pulls you in. And I don't buy into that. I don't buy into it, and therefore I don't do it. So everything that I do in the spiritual sense of sharing, being a guide, is extremely talking about. Please explain. You'll understand it because it's simple. Because spirituality in its essence is simple. And when you speak, you feel it inside. You just know it. You're not confused by it. If you're confused by it, it's because they're trying to make you believe. You shouldn't have to try and believe something. You shouldn't have to try and fix it so it all makes sense. You shouldn't have to try and work it out. That's not spirituality. Spirituality is when it just comes out, you feel it, and you know exactly what that means. That's why when people take the Pure Energy Healing Academy, it's so simple that it's profound. And I'm not here to diss anybody. I'm just saying what I say because there's so much fakery right now. So much fakery around everywhere. Fakery in space, fakery in everything. fakery in everything. Fakery in politics, fakery in religion, fakery in extraterrestrials, fakery in crystals, fakery in everything. There's just too much fakery in everything. And it's all by design. It's all by design, and 99% of humanity are really in that. They're really into that fakery. And I think a lot of people are into it is because they enjoy that energy, the confusion, the not understanding, not knowing. People love it. People love that. People just don't want to hear common sense. They don't want to hear truth and something simple. No, make it complicated. Make it sound like Hollywood. When I talk about Hollywood, I break down, just say, let's just take The Exorcist. You look at The Exorcist and you watch the first movie where she raises up in the bed and starts floating, and her body starts contortioning, she's doing all of this, and she's being sick, and she's saying words. I've spent 20 years working as a healer, and I've come across situations where people have been attacked demonically. Darkness has attacked, and all of those things that are perceived, that are shown, that you believe is, or you may not believe, is a demonic possession. I've explained actually doesn't really work like that. And I can understand if somebody was watching, they could probably think that. But my interpretation is that they've faked the truth about The Exorcist. I mean, for sure, they've faked that the neck spins around, the head spins right around. Yeah, like that's going to happen. The neck's going to be broken, and they're dead. So that's so obvious bullshit. Walking on the ceiling, like, what have you got? Super glue on your hands? You got, No, that's bullshit. Now the raising off the bed, that bit I can say this is exactly what happens. And some people actually believe that they're raising, that their actually body is raising. And you can say to me, yeah, but Mark, I've experienced that. I've experienced being thrown side to side. And I'll say to you that energy, it's real, but basically being levitated. What I saw was somebody laying on their back and then pushing their feet down and their hands down and just moving up, lifting their body slightly up. So yes, that happens because they're in pain in their body and they're trying to get that energy out. Yes, you'll say things, you'll scream and you'll shout. Yeah, definitely. So there's characteristics, as I say, in that film, but they've blown it out of proportion to make it Hollywood. So I dispel all that. I just take that apart and say it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Yes, energy moves things, for sure it does. It can knock things off the wall. It could be positive energy. It could be negative energy. And that happens. I remember when I was lying in bed and when I was with my wife, we both got up in the middle of the night and we both said, what was that? And nothing even happened. What is it? I don't know. And then all of a sudden, the little shabby chic side table, which was a French white shabby chic table on 4 legs, a side table, just moved across the room. Like somebody was pushing it, and you can hear that. And we looked at each other and went back to sleep. We didn't jump out of bed and scream. We just kind of laughed and just went back to sleep. Now, why would you do that if that happened? Well, you'd do that if you knew that there was nothing in the room and there was nothing wrong. And maybe it was just the energy that was in the room and within you and within me. So I just started doing healings, and I just started to learn how to channel energy, and my energy was becoming stronger and stronger. So at that point I was walking under these big poles with lights on, and they were going on and off. And I was doing things, people were touching me and getting electric shocks all the time. My energy was like, I could not be anywhere near anybody's computer because their computer just stopped working. And I swear to you, this is the truth. At my bank in Mias Pueblo, they would ask me to move back. They figured out that it was me that was causing the issue. So the actual lady who knew me coming in there most days would ask me to step back. And she said, this is strange. So what's been suppressed from humanity is that we have the power to do so much. Our energy is so powerful, but we don't know how to control it. We don't know how to activate it. We don't know how to use it in any shape or form. But the truth is that we have abilities beyond our comprehension, and those that are places to suppress humanity, to enslave humanity, to make them sick, to stop them from attuning to themselves, really stop them from being their true powerful energy, is all because they know how powerful we are, and then they need to suppress us by poisoning us. All right, I better go. Have a great day, guys. Sorry, my phone's ringing. I have to go. Ciao, ciao.